Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video, just bring you a closer look at the National Guard products number 5050W, white silicone bulb, self-adhesive gasketing, 1/4 by half, and then the length of the roll is lots of lengths. This happens to be a 20-foot roll. That's here for a client. 20-foot 5050W-20. Available in not only different colors, of course, but different roll lengths. Let's go over the roll lengths. 17 foot, 20 foot, 21 foot, 25 foot, 300 foot, and then you can do a 300 foot in an anti-ligature, which is where you something you would use in an application where it needed to be prevented from someone harming themselves with the weather stripping. Using it as a noose, something like that. Okay. The standard product is not anti-ligature, but you can get it in a 300-pound weight, where it's just simply going to fail if it's stretched out under too much weight, is what it is. 17, 20, 21, 25. Okay, where are those coming from? 17 foot would be typical for a 3 foot by 7 foot door. 7 plus 7 plus 3. Okay. Obviously, if you're going to be dealing with a 3080, you're going to need the 20 foot. 25 foot would certainly get you a 8 foot by 8 foot opening. 21 foot would probably work real well if you were doing a 6070 size kit. Okay. Now, the different colors we had mentioned earlier. Let's go over that next. Okay, so the 5050 material, which is the classic common material, the ubiquitous, you see it all the time, everywhere material. That's going to be available in the B, so 50/50, then the color. B for brown, C for charcoal, which is going to be not black, but will be very dark. The top of my desk is black, as you can see, and if I hold it up to this black surface, you can tell there's a difference, but on its own it looks quite close to black. White for W for white, T for tan, CL for clear. Most common, charcoal, really very white obviously is very common as well, but charcoal is probably the #1 common leading design. Now, this material, when smoke control, draft control came into code, you saw the teardrop shaped material come into play. Okay. Now, this is one in a series of self-adhesive items that are used to provide a smoke and draft seal, fire and smoke and draft seal. Material used specifically for the purpose of code compliance, naturally, life safety compliance, but also used in generic applications where you simply want something easy, inexpensive, easy to install, inexpensive and effective to help augment an existing weather stripping installation, give you some weather stripping to start with. It's self-adhesive, so it's super easy. There is a link below this video to the product catalog. Okay. So in the catalog, the product brochure, you're going to see the other items. Now, the 50/50 is equal to the dimensional properties, which are half by 1/4. This is the one that you're going to see everywhere. However, some people like the 25/25 because it's dimensionally smaller, and there are folks who will argue that it's equally effective, just on a slightly smaller sort of scale. Okay. Now, keep in mind when you're dealing with this sort of weather stripping, you're going to need to have the standard margin between the door and frame, because even as I pinch this down, it's still a measurable thickness. If you had a very tight margin to begin with, the 50/50 or the 25/25 is going to be difficult at best to work. If your margin is like a 32nd of an inch and the door barely makes it into the frame with maybe even a possible minor amount of contact, you're probably going to have trouble with this material, so you're going to want to reach out to us and we'll work with you to find a different solution. Maybe something that has a much lower compression requirement to get it to work, or you'll switch up the gasketing altogether to go with something that will not occupy the same space as the teardrop shape. Okay. Now, it's an excellent product that's self-adhesive. And this is just obviously a 2-inch piece that I've cut off. Peel away protective film, paper back on here, and just excellent adhesive. Takes a lot to get it to come off. Moving on to installation of the material, there is a link below this video to a document called Installation. Also MSDS. I've been asked that for an MSDS sheet on the content of the silicone material in the past. We provide it there as well. Now the link to the installation link is basically what is of the packaging. The first thing to take note is where you place it on the frame in relationship to where it's going to be on the... Where you place it on the frame depends on where you're placing it on the frame, meaning the hinge side of the door, you're going to place this on the rabbet, the actual part of the frame where you're screwing the hinges to. On the header and on the lock side, you're going to place this on the stop of the frame. If it's a hollow metal frame, and it very likely is, that 5/8 dimension is where you'll place it, and that's called out there in the installation. It's crucial that you install it there because that's what's going to allow you to make a very nice sort of installation. Okay. You can see that applying it that way, you're going to be able to get away with a tighter margin as well, since you are not applying it on the lock side, on the rabbet itself. It'll go on the stop, the face of the stop. So installation instructions, and I've installed this material, and we will quickly go through it. Number one, the temperature of the material needs to be at least 50 degrees and above in order for the adhesive to work. So you're going to want to make sure that you have controlled conditions. You're not going to want to install this on an exterior frame in Chicago in the middle of winter. Clean the frame with the wipe provided. Remove all dust, oil, grease, dirt, any wax coatings or high gloss paint that needs to be roughened up prior to attaching the material with maybe sandpaper or a Scotch-Brite pad so that you can achieve a proper bond. The having of a clean frame is so crucial that they actually provide a wipe, an alcohol wipe for use. It's actually that important. The first time I installed this material, I did a good job at cleaning the frame, but I didn't do a good enough job. Luckily, I had only one to do. I came to the job site the next day, and naturally it was significantly failed, where there were pieces of it that were literally detached. I then realized on the second go-around that I needed to clean the frame and then go back and clean the frame again so that it was utterly spotless, and immediately apply the material to the frame, apply a significant amount of pressure for at least, say, 30 seconds so that you get the best contact. Okay? Before you start attaching something, I would actually put these installation instructions in a slightly different order, meaning I would first measure and pre-cut the pieces. So you're going to measure your jambs, you're going to measure the head based on where you're going to apply the material. You're going to dry fit them to make sure that you've got the right length. You will then clean the frame. You will then begin to attach the material, peeling away. They say 1 to 2 feet at a time. I like to have it on the 1 foot at the most sort of length, because what I found that when I peeled away too much of it, I was literally trying to line it up straight, and as a result I was unintentionally stretching the material, which caused failure. When it resumed its natural elasticity, it came back to where it would normally be, and I found that with practice, after doing a couple, I was getting a very straight installation. It wasn't wavy at all, because on a frame you've got nothing but straight lines. But I was able to control it better with a 1 foot exposed, not stretch it, but then also not unintentionally bump it onto the frame and have to quickly pull it off. Position on the frame were illustrated, allowing a 1/16 of an inch between the frame seal, the seal and the frame for clearance, because obviously when that's 1/2 inch, it's going to be slightly greater when it's compressed. Do not rub along the length, because that's going to do the unintentional stretching. and will fail the installation. Make sure the seal does not impede proper door closing. That's very crucial. The door must still close and it must still latch, otherwise you don't actually have a fire-rated door. Don't order more of this than you're going to need. It really has only a 6-month shelf life. They say 1 year, and I have no reason to contest that. But if you've got changing of seasons, I would probably really restrict that to a much shorter shelf life. If you're not going to use it, quite frankly, why inventory it? Unless, of course, you're a distributor and you know that you're going to be selling the material quickly. If you're not sure if you're going to use it and when, order it when you know you're going to use it. Okay. There are specifications down below regarding the fire rating classification that it has been found to be compliant with. There's also a fire rating, a UL10C positive pressure rating compliance. There is acoustical rating on this as well. Now, from an acoustical perspective, I know that this material is used in acoustically rated openings, and they generally will use it to augment some other gasketing as well. Now, I've used this material not only for its intended purpose, but also when I am just trying to augment existing weather stripping, and I found it to be very effective. Imagine a wall between a shop and a showroom. In the summertime, when you've got doors in the back or windows in the back that are open, and then the showroom door opens, that air races through, carrying particulate through the space. I noticed that my showroom became dusty in the summer more than the winter. Well, in the winter as well, but for a different reason. I found that I was able to add this material to help impede the transmission of the particulate through the door opening, and just within a week or so, and then a month, you can obviously tell where this is trapping via the line of dust and debris that didn't get through. So it's cheap, easy to install, and effective, as I'd said earlier. Now, finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's website within our manufacturer's page within our website, where you can review all things National Guard product related. I'm partial to National Guard, and it's because they do a great job with not only adhesive-backed fire-rated gasketing, but the regular material, your thresholds, your door sweeps, your perimeter gasketing. The name National Guard is synonymous with weather stripping, and you will enjoy a industry-wide level of acceptance to the name and to the product line as well. If you have any questions on the National Guard products 5050B, 5050W, white silicone bulb self-adhesive gasketing, or any other National Guard product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.